I've got an inside tip for you, one that restaurants do a lot and you may not even know it: steak butter. The idea behind a steak butter is the butter will melt and become part of the first bite you have in a steak, and it just enhance a wonderful steak. In this case, I'm going to use a compound butter that includes herbs from the garden. So I've got parsley, thyme, rosemary, shallot, having an onion component is smart, and roasted garlic, and of course salt and pepper. The main star here is an unsalted butter, and I make sure that I use quality butter in this case. This is not the time to use margarine. Use a high quality butter with a high fat content. So if you like European butters like Kerrygold or Plugra, this is the time to use that. So let's get started. I've got softened butter, a ½ pound. You can see it's really soft. I'm going to introduce, an onion component. So the shallots that I talked about. Shallots are super mild, meaning you can eat a raw shallot. Not so fun to eat raw onion in my opinion, but a shallot, you can do it. And what's perfect is all of these things will awaken by the slight amount of heat from the steak. Speaking of awakening, that's exactly what you put these herbs in for, to awaken those fresh herbs as soon as it hits the steak and becomes warm. And that little bit of brightness you have from the herbs is so additive. Don't get too hung up on the type of herbs I've got here. In this case, I've got parsley, thyme, and rosemary, but if sage is what you've got, even mint is something fantastic during the summer. Roasted garlic. Again, raw garlic is a little harsh, but when it's roasted, it mellows out and it'll perfectly marry with the steak. The volume that I have here generally is about a quarter cup or so of ingredients. In the end, it's about a cup of butter. I'm going to mix that up just a little bit, and then I kind of spread it out. Salt and pepper, to me, I want to make sure is nice and even in here. So I put about a teaspoon or so of salt. And again, I use unsalted butter for a reason. That way I can control the amount of salt in it. You can too. And pepper, about a teaspoon of pepper. Mix that up. I do this spread technique to get it nice and even so that every bite is kind of an equal amount of all these great ingredients. It's as simple as that, and then we're going to roll it into a log and chill it. To do that, I use parchment we have here, and I just put that butter, plop it right onto some parchment, and I create kind of a log shape from that. So I start by just spreading it evenly in a line. I'm going to use this dough scraper to help get the rest off. Okay. And then I just roll that into a log shape. At this point, I try to avoid touching it too much with my hands, but I can use that bowl scraper to create a nice round shape and straighten the parchment out. Okay, you can create a nice log roll and just chill that. If you don't have parchment, you can use plastic wrap or wax paper. It works just fine. And then I'm going to put this in the refrigerator. So this had about 2 hours in the refrigerator. And I'm just going to unroll it and slice the compound butter into discs that I can put right onto a steak. This will hold for about 3 or 4 days fresh, and you can freeze it. So you can use it for a lot of things. You can put it on veggies, you can put it on bread. So you just slice it in discs and put each one of those discs onto a steak. And we're going to put it right on this steak. In this case, I've got a strip steak, which I love with this recipe. There you have it, a classic steak butter, just like the best steakhouses.